Welcome to Nerdprom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all nerds! International. With the hyphen.
Hello and welcome to the Dragons Are Real podcast. We are now on the Nerds International Network, if we hadn't guessed by that intro. So I'd like to thank Eric Lamoureux for inviting me to join the Nerds International Network. So today I'm going to have a look at another virtual tabletop. I did say on my audio podcast that I was going to have a look at the Runehammer VTT, but on chatting with Hank, as it's still in beta, he doesn't want anything released yet on it, and that's fair enough because it is still in beta and it's just the Immortals from the Patreon that are having a look at that, and there's lots more functionality, so it'd be a bit disappointment if we put that out and people saw it in not its ready state. So, in view of that, I'm going to have a look at another virtual tabletop, and this one is the digital D20 virtual tabletop. Now, the website it's on is called digital20.com, and if you go to the digital20.com website, there is a blog post that talks about it being released, but strangely enough, it doesn't give you a link to the virtual tabletop. So if we go over to the blog, it goes on about this new virtual tabletop being launched, but it doesn't give you a link on there. It's only accessible from the home page. So if you go back to the home page, there is a link there, and that takes you to this web page. Now this is a simple and easy and fastest virtual tabletop, and it really is lightweight. So let's create a new room as a master and have a look at what this is all about. So here is the tabletop. So you've got a background which you can zoom in and zoom out of. This one's got hexes on it. You've got some tokens which you can move around. And then you've got some tokens already pre-installed here up on the left hand side. So for example, if I want to add the arrow, I can choose medium, large, huge or free. So if I do medium and add token, this now adds the token to the screen, and I can move it around, and anybody I share the virtual tabletop can also share it around. Delete it, just press the delete button. If I want to do the same one but do it large, I can add the token, and here we go, there's a large. Or we can do huge, and all it's doing is scaling up each one depending on the grid size. And finally, let's add a free one. And with the free one, you've got the handles on the side, and you can also rotate it. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free tokens. So there's like a fireball. We've got a sort of like frost blast if you wanted to use that, and I'm guessing a lightning blast. So that's what comes with it free. But you can also import your own tokens, and I will show you in a short while how we're going to do that. It's also got Fog of War, which is over here to the left. Enable Fog of War, and it puts Fog of War over the entire area, and you can disable it. If you enable it and you want to reveal an area, you just click on the reveal area and drag the area you want to view. And you can continually carry on dragging, and when you finish dragging, stop, and there we go, there's the Fog of War. So your players, all they will see is that. To share, you click on the share link, that will give you the link. And let's open up a new window. We'll do it incognito so you know it's not my login. So as we come into the shared one as a player, that is what you'll see. And it's dynamic, so as soon as I move something over here, let's go back to there, and it's already moved. And as a player, I can move any of these tokens, and I can delete them as well. As I say, it's a nice simple tabletop for just moving tokens around. So what else has it got? Well, the other thing it's got is a dice roller, and it comes with 3 configured dice at the moment: 1 D20, 1 D8 and 3 D6. And the colour of the dice is on the right hand side. On the left hand side is the fill of the dice. So let's roll a D20. And look at that nice effect. It bounces the D20 across the table and rolls it. If I want to roll another one, it'll roll another one. If you want to clear the dice, you click the clear dice. So let's roll a D8 this time. And for some reason, the dice there didn't roll. Ooh, wacky, have I? So let's have a look at a D4. There we go. The D4's come on nicely. Let's see if our D8's working yet. There we go. Now the D8's working. And these are the dice rolls it comes up with. You've got 1 to 5 D4, and then you've got D6, D8, D10, D12 and D20. You can also combine the rolls, so if you wanted to roll a D10, let's go back, let's do a combine roll. So we do 1d10 plus 1d4 roll, and then it'll roll the 2 dice together. So that's nice. The other thing you can do with it is you can alter the quality. So if we go to the left, let's see what happens now. So you can see that the graphics is a bit fuzzier, and if we go to the extreme to the right, I'm guessing now that we're going to see a nice, yes, very clear dice, but it's quite slow. So you want to really sort of guessing somewhere in the middle as it came with. Let's try that. That's probably about the best quality we can get. Okay, so that's fine, and you also see in there's some little chat here. It gives a message of that who's rolled it. So when there's several players in, it can be seen. So if we go to our players screen and roll a d20, you can see that player U409. So this is where you want to get your players to change the name. So we'll call him Jimmy. Well, let's have Jane. There we go. So we'll call it Jane. And now Jane will roll a d20, and Jane rolled. So that way the GM knows who's done the rolls. So how do we get our own images in there? Well, you can't upload them to a website. It's got to be done from a URL. So what you need to do is we'll do the background first. Let's find some backgrounds. So if we go to something like Reddit, there's D&D maps and battle maps, and let's scroll down, and there's an image I quite like. So let's have a look at this images. And now we've got the image, so we'll copy the URL for that, head back, we'll paste the URL in and set it as our background. And as soon as you set something as the background, then what you have to do is click and drag to set the size of the squares. So let's do that. So 1 square is that size, and what you'll notice now is all the tokens get automatically resized. So let's clear the dice so you can see better. So there we've got our tokens, and they are nicely scaled to the size of the grid. If we want to add further tokens of the same, then it's just a matter of clicking up here if we've already used a token and adding the token again. Now, as I set it in free, that wasn't a good idea, was it? Let's set it to medium and add token. And if at any time we find that the grid size is incorrect, we can actually set the tile manually. Now, the other thing you can do with the token is when you got it selected, you can edit it. And what this allows you to do, if the token isn't quite right, you can move it to the left and to the right to get to the circle over it just about right. And you can go up and down the same way for making small corrections, and you can zoom in and zoom out of the token as well. So if the tokens aren't quite right, you can sort it out through the edit token, and we'll close the edit. So we've got the background in. So shall we go to our new players? And oh, it's all gone black. And why is that? Because we haven't set the fog of war. So let's do a reveal area, and let's say, if you want to reset the fog at any time, just click reset fog and it'll reset it all. Let's say our characters are coming on the left hand side here. So we'll reveal fog, and we're going to reveal we're quite happy for all this to be revealed, so we'll do that, and then stop reveal, move our player characters over here, and on our GM on our player screen, that is what they see. So nice and simple. So we've got our background in, and if you want to change the background at any point, we can just go back to the web, have a look for another background. Let's have a look now. Oh, that one's quite nice, so we'll pop this one in. So what's probably the best thing to do is, if you've got a few scenes set up, is store these scenes somewhere, the URL somewhere, and there we go. So there's our new map again, and if you use your mouse wheel, it zooms in and zooms out. Holding your right mouse button down, you can pan the map as well. So there we go. We've set the size. Let's get rid of this one, and if we decide that, you know what, that grid's not quite right, let's set the tile size again, and now we're zoomed in. We'll drag that over, and there we go, done. So tokens. Same for tokens, you're going to have to get your tokens from a URL. So if you want to make your own tokens, then the tokens that I would recommend is the tool I would recommend is Token Stamp 2, which is a free web tool from rolladvantage.com/Token Stamp 2. And from this you can set your rings around the token. So let's set this ring here. We can set the border color. Let's have that to blue, and any changes you make automatically change. We'll change it to white background. So we have a white background, okay. And then all it is then is we drop an image on it. So let's see if we've got some images. So I'm going to open up my pictures, and let's say we'll use this flash golden here, shall we? So make sure that in the background we've got our token stamp revealed, and then we'll drag flash golden onto there, and there you see on it goes our picture, and then we can drag it around and get it just as we want. We can zoom in and zoom out, enlarge it, get it just so we want it, and that's the top right there. You can see what the finished product's going to be like, and then download it and save it to your PC. And that is what I've done with a load of images that I've got. And what I've done is on my Imager account, I've got a load of Flash Golden tokens here, which are from the one of the comics. So I've got all the different characters. So if I want to bring Dr. Zarkov in, if I right click, copy the image address, come back to Digital 20, paste the URL into the top right, and instead of hitting set background, this time I'm going to add token, and I've got it set to medium. And there we go, there is my token. So what you'll also notice that it saves the last few tokens you've used up here on the left hand side. So if you want to go back to those, then you can nip straight back to those. So we'll have Dr. Zarkov down the bottom here. Who else shall we have? Shall we have, see if we've got flash. Oh, we got Blind's Bletted figure there, his character. So we'll add him. Vulcan. Let's add him. And now let's have a couple of Ming Guards. So have we got the Ming Guards? I'm sure we have somewhere. Scroll down. So we find a suitable figure. You know, there we go. Let's have this one here, copy image address, and we'll have, say, let's have 5 guards. So I'll show you then how this works. So add token, add token, add token, add token. There we go, 5 guards. So as you can see, that easy to set up. We don't want these now, we'll get rid of these. And if, for example, we accidentally deleted Zarkov, then if we click back on this image here, it'll bring up back to the URL, and we can just pop him back on the screen. And let's roll our dice. 1d20. And as you notice, it's only keeping the last 3 dice rolls. So if you're using just d20s and d8s, then it'll save that on your screen. Just be warned though that if you roll another type of dice, it will leave the previous dice on the screen, as you can see here. So it is best that once you've done your dice roll, it's obviously glitching at some points, as you can see here. We've got a couple of glitches, but hey, it's a free tool. So that is the digital D20 virtual tabletop. As you can see, it's nice and simple. It's not using much resources. It's all held within the browser, so that's a big thumbs up. All your players can share it, and if you've got somebody with bandwidth issues where you're trying to share screens, then this might be a good alternative. So if they can access the website, they can see what you can see, and you only need the one URL, which is really handy, with your room number, and when you go back on again and log on, then you will get a new game. If you log on from the same IP address with the URL at the top, then it does seem to keep that, so maybe you have to plan it a bit ahead before time, but it's that lightweight, you can't really complain. What I would do is that before your game, is if you're going to set yourself up an Imager account and maybe create a directory with just the images you want, instead of having to do what I did and scroll through tons and tons, you could just create a new post with a game night and just type your maps in there and your tokens in there, and then you're ready to go. Have that open in a separate tab or on a second screen. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got any comments about that, then do let me know. And that's all for me now, and I'll see you on the flip side.